Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on the Avalanche again. Today we're going to be doing the upper intake manifold gaskets. Somehow I got a leak over here on this bank 1 here. I think this is bank 1, but it's bank 1. There's a random multiple misfire and a lean bank 1, so most likely it's this. We're going to be changing the upper intake. It's not as bad as you might think. A lot of people are just scared of it, but it's really not too bad. Like over here you can see there's like nothing really in the way other than maybe the fuel rail, but that's pretty easy to deal with. This side over here looks a little bit more in the way, but first we're going to get this cover off and then we'll kind of show you what it's really not as bad as you think. But first we get this cover off, just an 8mm bolt right up in there, and then take this. We may not even need to take this. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to take that off. So, but we'll take the air box, take the air resonator and the little cover there, and then I will be right back. All right, so I got all the covers off. You can kind of see it's really dirty up in there. Been doing a little off-roading in it, some dirt roads, make it kind of dusty up in there, but you can kind of see someone's already had this off, so they've left like a lot of like the little nuts that go there, and some of the clips are not fully in, but basically we just got to get this little plate here off, and we got to get some of the wiring out of the way, and then some of the hoses, and then basically from there it'll be pretty easy. So I'll let you watch me on that while I'll set the camera up, and then I'll get started on that and we'll get it moving. Okay, so for this plate, it's just basically a 10mm for this little plate right here. You got a bolt back in the back. Let's see if I can move you back there. You got this one bolt back here that you can't really get a socket onto because there's not a whole lot of room. So just use like a ratcheting wrench. That wasn't even very tight. And you might be able to pull it out of there with your bare paws. Just a second. Oh, phone was ringing. Getting a call from somebody I don't know, and if I don't know the number, I don't answer it. I don't answer it when I'm doing a video anyway. Okay, this is a little bit kind of tight squeeze up in there. If you have small hands, it won't be too bad. If you have big hands, you might kind of struggle with it. I got a medium-sized paw, so, and these ones you could use a socket on, socket your impact. I'll probably end up cleaning all this off before I put it all back together, wiping it all down, washing it all up. Thinking about putting this thing up for sale, so my wife's mom has a good deal on another car that she might want to sell us, and in order to make it happen, we're going to have to put this one up for sale. Now, what I've done, because I think somebody's already been in here doing knock sensors. I got new knock sensors, so I might change them out. But what I did, I bought a harness, and because I kept getting a knock sensor code, so I bought a harness and ran the wires down to here, and I just put some knock sensors just right down into the head here, which probably not ideal, but it kept the light off. So, but I might try the new ones again. I'll keep these ones in just in case I keep running into a problem, but I might change them out again just because, well, I can. But anyway, so let me set you back down here. See if we can get you where you can actually keep seeing what I'm doing here. We gotta basically we gotta unplug all the wiring plugs, which doesn't look like there's a whole lot. And then this big loom is kind of in the way. We're just gonna have to kind of work around that because it's kind of in the way, and there's not really a whole lot of moving it because it runs all the way down here and runs all the way across the front there. So we're gonna have a kind of a tougher time with that. But to start with, we'll just start unplugging what we can. You might want to grab you a little flathead screwdriver to help get some of the clips out, like this thing here. It's a little clip. Some of them have harder to get clips that you may not be able to get to very easy. But we're gonna undo that one, undo this one, the throttle body clip. not. This one's kind of, yeah, see, some of them might give you a little bit of a fit, but it should be okay. All right, there's that one. And then we're gonna also want to unplug your injectors, because we're gonna have to pull the fuel rail off of it. Try not to break them, obviously, for obvious reasons. Don't want to break them. And then there's these little clippies here that can open up and come off. These little wire clips. I don't know if you can see those or not, but these little wire clips that kind of hold it on there. You want to open those up. It's just a matter of get down in here. There's a little spot right there. You stick a screwdriver in and you can pop that out of there. Put you back. So you can see what I'm doing there. Clip that, then you can get it clear out of your way. Got two more back here I gotta get. That one and that one. Okay, so those are all undone. So this side is pretty much done already. Just gotta get that out of the way. So we got that. We got this one back here for the map sensor. Unplug that. Okay, so now that's pretty much out of the way. You just gotta kind of like, just kind of move it out of the way a little bit. And then you've got a hose back here. You've got a couple little hoses back there, it looks like. You might be able to get those once you get it out of, once you get it all unhooked, once you get it out. And let me come over here to this side. Let's see, this one just pulls out here. Okay. So that side's pretty much done. That's pretty much as easy as it is on that side. And then you just got these fuel rail bolts. And then the fuel rail should just come up and flip over. Just kind of flip it over. You shouldn't have to remove the fuel lines from it or anything. But, and then your bolts for the intake are actually down there. Looks like they're 8mm, or 8s or 10s. Most likely they're 8s. But anyway, regardless, we're gonna get this thing done here. I'm gonna put you down over here now so that on this other side, so you can see what I'm doing. See if I can get you down in there so you can kind of see what I'm doing there. Okay. Sorry about the camera moving. I'll try and do better. But let's get up in here. Let's see, we still gotta unplug this guy here. Maybe not. Okay, there we go. Unhook this. I don't know how that one comes out.
Hey, Doc, is Matt out there?
Alright, sorry about that. Had a kid that had to take care of something with. But anywho, let's figure out how this thing works. I might just pull that out all together. So let me grab my 8mm here. I'm just going to pull this thing out all together. Make sure I remember where the bolt's going, and then I'm just going to pull out because it looks like that's going to be a little bit of a tricky to get out. So I'm just going to do that. Leave it there. This wire loom is going to be in the way. And we just got to go down and we got to unplug the injector wires. We may not even have to unplug the injector wires from this side because the whole harness is going to come over this way. The whole fuel rail. But I might still unplug them just because then I don't have to worry about them later if I do end up having to unplug them. Better to unplug them now than have to deal with them later. If I can get back there to them. Oh my God. They're not too bad. See, it's not as bad as you might think. It's not simple by any means, but it's really not as bad as a lot of people think. A lot of people are just probably more scared of it. You know, wow, that intake. I gotta pull that intake off. Oh no. But anyway, if you can see here, I'll try and get you down in there to see. There's a hose back here. Right here, you're gonna have to get that off. You might be able to lift the intake and slide it out with that hose still on, and then get it off afterwards. That's how I'm going to try it. If I have to get it off, I'll get it off. But I'm going to try and pull the intake and get that off afterwards, after I kind of can slide the intake out a little bit. I'm going to try that. But anyway, let's put you back up there. Okay. Now, we just got a couple more little things to unplug. Got this here to unplug. Just make sure you get all your little plugs off. There shouldn't be any brackets back behind it holding it in. Hopefully not, because I think this one's already been off, so you might not have any brackets back behind. We'll find out. We'll learn this the hard way if we have to. I know I have done these before. I just can't remember if there's a bracket back there. I know they're not. I know these aren't super difficult to change. But I just gotta get it so that I can either, for one, have it running good, or for two, have it running good enough to sell, because, you know, my wife's kind of pushing me, we gotta sell it. So I don't know if we're actually going to or not, but she's kind of like pushing me to sell it. So because she wants that new car. Her mom's got a deal on a really nice car that is worth a lot more than they're selling it to us for, and the only way we can is to sell this. So when the wife speaks, you answer. Anyway, I think that's about it for that. Now I think we can start working on pulling out the bolts to the fuel rail. You just got 4 of them. You got 2 on this side, 2 on that side. See what they are, if they're 8s or if they're 10s. Looks like they are 8 millimeters. Put these over there. And this one I might not be able to get my gun down into. Oh, I can't reach my gun in there quite. I could possibly with a shorter socket, or maybe I can go grab my power ratchet. Might be better anyway. Let me do that. Let me put you on pause here for a second. Alright, sorry about that. I had something else come up all of a sudden. But anyway, got my ratchet, my power ratchet, my Milwaukee fuel ratchet, 3/8 drive. So that should be able to get down in there a little better. I'm gonna do this. Okay, so we got that, and then come down onto this one here. And then taking these off, you just kind of grab a little screwdriver or a little pry bar or something to kind of pry on them a little. And just careful not to break them though. Oh, drop the screw. Drop the screw down there a little bit. Where'd it go? Now let's see if I can grab a hold of it. Right there. Careful with your screws, they kind of can fall down there, and if they fall down in certain spots, you may never find them again. Okay, so let's see, what else am I missing? Was there something else down there holding us up down here? I don't think so. Nope, that's not it. That's not. Okay, so we should just be able to grab a screwdriver. We go grab a bigger pry bar type screwdriver, and I will be right back again. Okay, I'm trying to keep this where you can kind of see what I'm doing here, but you just kind of got to get just a screwdriver down here and just kind of gently pry on it. You know, not so hard that you break anything, but just kind of gently pry, just enough to where the injectors will come out. You don't need to go too much, because again, you don't want to break it. If you break one, then you're buying a new injector or a rail or something. But it should just pop off, you know, gently kind of pry on it and pull on it and lift on it, and you should be able to get those to come out. See, they're coming out. And watch for your gaskets. See if I can show you there. There's a little O-ring right there. Make sure those come out with, and then you're gonna want to like maybe put a little bit of like Vaseline on them when you put them back in. Okay, those ones came out pretty easy. Yeah, sorry about that. See, here we're kind of out there, and then we pull out the other side kind of the same way, and then it should just flip over the top and not have to unhook anything. Let me unplug this alternator here real quick. Okay, get that out of the way. Let me set you back down here for a quick sec. It's kind of hard to work one-handed. Okay, I'll put you right here. Hopefully you can kind of see what I'm doing, but you kind of get the gist of how to get that fuel rail off. You just kind of gently wiggle it and kind of pull on it, pry on it a little bit. Ever so gently. Just, you know, like I said, you don't need to go too hard with it. Just kind of just enough to just get it popped out of place. And then you pull them up. Take a look, get that last one up. And this should slide, it should just flip right over. It's going to be kind of a tight squeeze with all the wiring we got in the way. This big old wire loom in the way. We need to pop this little clip out down here. Sorry if you can't see what I'm doing. There's just one of those little rings that holds it together down here. It needs to be popped out. If I can figure out how that thing works. Let's see here. No, it goes out here somehow. There. Yep, that's not working. That's not working. We'll just have to kind of like push it back there a little bit like so. So that that's out of the way. And then this thing's kind of in the way too. You have to kind of just flip it out of the way here somehow. Because I don't want to have to remove the fuel rail, the fuel lines if possible. We might be able to get to it from there. Okay. So if we just kind of leave it up there out of the way, it's kind of gonna give us a little bit of fits down there, but we should still be able to get it out of there. But then we just got these few bolts here. We got, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That one back there. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Probably 5 on each side, and then it should just be able to come out after that. You do have a little coolant hose on the bottom of your throttle body. You can pull your throttle body off if you want. A couple of a 10 there and 2 10s on the bottom. Slide the throttle body out of the way. Then you don't have to pull that because that is coolant hose running through that. So there is coolant running through that, so that you don't make a coolant mess. You just pull those 3 bolts off there, 10 mils. That's probably how I'm going to end up doing it. Sorry if you're upside down. But anyway, there's these 3 bolts here. And then those 5, that'll slip your throttle body off out of your way. And then should be able to get your intake out from there. So we will try to find a good spot for you so you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'll grab my 10, get the throttle body off, and then we'll start working on the intake. Okay, I'm just gonna use a little hand ratchet on these ones just because, you know, I'm not gonna try. I don't want to try and like overdo those ones. I mean, you can. It's not that you can't do that, but I'm just gonna not, just because. And you also have another coolant hose going down this other side here. You got a coolant hose right there and a coolant hose over there. So you might just have to like flip it forward. You might not be able to actually move it too far out of the way. Just flip it enough forward that it's kind of out of the way there. Unless you want to pull those hoses, you can. There's no reason why you can't pull them, but just so you don't have to worry about coolant getting over the place and making a mess or having to refill your top off your coolant or anything like that. You just pull this off. It's 3 bolts. Sometimes it's easier to pull these 3 bolts than it is to fight with trying to get those hoses on and off of there. Okay, one more. That, doing it by hand makes it so you don't drop it as easy. That one is not quite loose. Just be careful with your gaskets, because intake manifold kit that I got didn't come with this gasket, so you gotta be careful with the gasket. We're gonna be reusing it. The only gaskets it came with is the upper intake. So we're gonna be changing the upper intake and maybe those knock sensors, and then we're gonna go from there and see what happens. I'll keep these other ones there just in case I get a light. Okay, so there's those. This should just slide right off of there. Maybe. Oh, maybe I have to pull a hose off in order to. Maybe I have to pull one of them hoses. So maybe I'll pull that one down there. You can kind of see there's a hose clamp right there. If it'll focus on that. If it'll focus. Oh, yep, there's a clamp right there. We just have to pull that off because it doesn't seem like it's going to want to come. It doesn't want to seem like it's going to give us enough. Maybe. I'll have to set you down again so I can work two-handed. Alright, so we got that out of the way. That hose wasn't too bad to get off, but it was still more than you probably want to deal with. But we'll put our socket back on our impact. And I'm just using a 1/4 inch M12. Sorry about this. It's kind of tall truck, so I'm kind of have to stand on something and kind of have to move it around a little bit. Okay, that one fit. Okay, now to this side, it's going to be a little tougher because it's a little tighter of a squeeze. Might have to just grab my hand ratchet to get the back ones on this one. But what we're going to do, we got this one here. We got this one here. We got this one here. We got this one back here. You can't really, it's hard to it's kind of hard to see that one, but that one's going to be a little tougher. We're going to have to probably get my hand ratchet down on there, maybe even my ratcheting wrench onto that one. It's a little tighter squeeze down in there. With your fuel rail and all that in the way, it's a little tight. But we're going to get this thing figured out anyway. So that one, you just got to kind of break it free by hand. I might be able to get my ratchet down in there, maybe. I'll try that first real quick. If not, I'm going to have to just put you on hold and get that one out. But that back one, way back there. This one right here. I don't know if you can see that back there, but it's back there. Not a lot of room with your fuel rail in the way to get your power tools back there, so you might have to get that one out by hand, get you a little 1/4 inch ratchet or something. But I'm going to work on that, get that out, and then I'll come right back. Okay, so we got all those bolts out. So we should be ready to lift this guy up. See, it's lifting up back here. I don't know how we're going to get it. I don't know if we're back there, if there's anything holding us up back there or not. That's still kind of holding us up, that back one there. Okay, so we should be able to get that out of there. So just slide right out. So you can get this hose off of here now that's there. It looks like your PCV hose. Maybe not. It's kind of, the whole PCV is spinning, so the hose isn't coming out of there. And now's a good time if you need to do your oil pressure cinder. Now's a good time to do that. It's a quick release or something. There we go. It's just a little quick release deal. You push in this little red tab here. Let me get out of here so I can. Let me get this out of here so I can kind of show you what I'm talking about here. Okay, come on over here. See, this little red tab, you just push that in and your hose pops out. And then when you go to put it back in, you just pop it in and there you go. So that's pretty simple. All right, well, we got this intake out. It's not as bad as a lot of people think. Now let's see if I can find out where it's leaking from here. think it was leaking from this side over here. Can't really tell. It looks, I mean, everything looks like maybe it's good, but I was getting them codes. Maybe, I don't know, we'll have to find out. So it went in this way. So it would be this side here, I think, was leaking. Maybe right there. Maybe it's leaking out of right there, maybe. It's kind of discoloring right there, and maybe that's where it was leaking from. But at any rate, I've got this out, and if we want to do the NOx sensors, give me a second, we'll show you on that one. NOx sensors are just right underneath this plate here. So all you gotta do is pull this little plate off. It's like you got a few 10 mils. Here's your wiring harness. I don't know if it's any good or not. It looks like it's been cut. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe it was cut and somebody cut one out and did something. So I don't know. Maybe that's why we were getting a light for NOx sensors. Somebody like spliced two of them into one of them. So I don't know. Anyway, looks like we got some 10 millimeters right there. Let me go grab my 10 mil and we will lift this guy up and we'll check on them NOx sensors. Make sure we get all those leaves out of here so they don't go down into the intake. A bunch of dirt and leaves and stuff down in there. But really, I mean, like I said, it's not as bad as a lot of people think it is. It's just a matter of just getting this out of the way, and just a lot of people are just kind of scared of some of what. They're just scared. It's intimidating. It's really not too bad. But if you want to keep watching, I'm going to knock out these O2 sensors, or these NOx sensors. Pull this plate off, pull those off if you want to keep watching that, and then we'll change those out, and then we're going to put it all back together. So if you want to keep watching, if you just needed to watch to get it out, putting it back is pretty easy. It's just opposite of what you did. But if you want to stay and watch, I'm going to finish this, take these off. It's just a matter of those plates, that plate, and then, but anyway, let me get set up for that, get my 10 millimeter, and I will be right back. Okay, got my 10 millimeter. Let's double check, make sure it's 10 millimeter. Yes, sir, it is. Now we will change out my 8 with my 10. Just drop those, hold on. Okay, don't drop them down your holes. Make sure you don't drop them down in your holes there. Set these aside. Set them up. We'll set them up over here. Sorry, gotta move you. Okay. Now we're gonna finish pulling the rest of these out. Again, don't let them. Don't lose them. Don't let them fall. Especially down in your cam holes there. That would not be good. Or valves, whatever they are, valve holes, or finish pulling those. Set those up there. Finish twisting these out. This one out. Like I said, it's not as bad as some people think. I mean, we had this out in what, 5 minutes? Well, maybe a little longer than that, 15, 20. Most people, they're just scared. They just think it's too much work for them. And some people maybe it is, some people maybe it's not. Okay, and then you just lift this plate up. I have to grab a screwdriver. Give it a little pry. So I think I don't know if you're supposed to silicone that back down. I think you might be. No, there's a gasket there. I think you just gotta, hopefully it's not silicone, or I'm running to the store to get some silicone because I don't have any. Okay, let me put you down here for a second so I can get this off. I need 2 hands again, and I will be right back. Okay, change of plan. Let me get you where you can see. You don't actually have to pull these bolts out in this plate. They're just right underneath these little boots. You just pop that boot off, and there it is. You just unplug it. Somehow you just unplug them and you're done. And that's it. You just unplug them from there, and then you just twist in your new ones. It's that simple. So you don't have to pull these plate off. So I'm gonna have to just put those bolts back. For some reason I thought they were underneath this plate, but they're not. They're just right in this hole here. You can see it right there. Boom. So you just unplug it, change out your knock sensor, and there you go. So I'm gonna have to put these bolts back in. And so don't take those bolts out. Okay. Now let me get those out so I can get them. Again, it's hard to work one-handed. Let me set you up, or just get those out and I will be right back. Okay, to unplug them, it's just a squeeze. You just grab you some needle nose pliers and just squeeze right here, and those little clippies will, oh, dropped it. You just squeeze right here. You just grab some long needle nose and you just squeeze right here, those, and then these two little clips will spread out, and then you just unplug it. And then it's just a matter of like a 15 or a 16 millimeter, something like that. Unscrew it, screw the new one in, and that's it. So I'm going to get those out. I'll let you know what size it is, but I'll get those out and then put these 10 mils back in, and then I will be right back, and then we'll work on putting this thing all back together. Stay tuned for that. Okay, so here's your knock sensor. It's actually a 22 millimeter, aka 7/8. To get it, just goes over the top of that and twist it off. It's like a mile long threads, so it feels like you're turning for a couple of days. You can take it out with an impact. I wouldn't recommend putting it back in with an impact, but you can definitely take it out with an impact. So, but 22 millimeter, just unthread them. Just go down in that little hole here. Just a second here. I'm gonna drop my tool on the ground. Just go down in that little hole. Just down in that little hole right there, and then your other one still in. I haven't got both of them out yet, but then just put it back in, put your plugs in, and put it all back together. For those that can figure it out how to put it back together, have a good one. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, share, you know the drill. Comment, you know the drill. For those that want to hang out and watch me put it back together, stay tuned. Okay, so I'm sure there's a torque spec on those, but I don't know what it is, and I left my torque wrench at work, so I'm just gonna hit my gun on number 1. If you can see that, I'm just gonna put my 1/4 inch impact on number 1 setting. Oh, wrong way. And I'm just gonna hit him in that way with that, like that, because it's probably good enough if I can get back there to it. But that's basically all I'm gonna do on that. Phone was ringing again. Dang it! Right as soon as I hit the play button, someone rings. I'm just gonna hit that, and then that should be tight enough. I mean, they don't have to be super tight, but just put your gun on setting number 1. And I'm sure there's supposed to be a sequence on these, but again, not too worried about a sequence. It doesn't technically matter on something like this as much as you might think. The heads, I would definitely do the sequence. All right, it's kind of out of focus. Okay, so that I'll just do that, and then on the knock sensors, you just run them in by hand. I wouldn't use the impact gun on those. Most definitely wouldn't use that. So just run them in. These are your new ones. Same thing. And those ones were fairly new, so I don't know what the heck the problem is. Maybe there's actually a problem down in this engine. But you just drop those down in there, get them started. You can start them by hand, but then you're gonna want to put them in tight, wrench tight, not impact tight. They don't need to be impacted in. Oh, I'm falling off my stool. That's it. Just kind of feel for the threads. Give it a few turns. And then you grab your wrench, your ratchet with your socket on it. Yeah, I don't know what the heck was up with that. So, and it came with a new wire harness, so we're gonna just throw this wire harness away. I'm gonna keep this one plugged in again to the knock sensors. I got one here, and that kept the light off. So if I plug this in and the light comes back on, then I'll just hook them back up that way, and then I'll just run that plug back over and plug it in instead of these ones, you know. But it is what it is. Okay, now where is my socket and extensions? Down here on the ground. Okay, sorry about that. It's kind of hard working one-handed, but it's kind of hard to find a good spot to put you where you're not in my way and or gonna fall over if I set the camera down somewhere. Don't want to tip the camera over, but I kind of can't have you in the way either, so we're gonna have to figure something out so I can actually get in there. Maybe I should have got my better tripod, but it is what it is. We're just gonna have to do the best we can with what we got, huh? Okay, finger tight was pretty tight, pretty close. Just gotta hit this up one more quick little snug here. Oh, hold on, I don't want to knock the camera over. Gotta reach around here. All right, there we go. Okay, now that's that. Now we just plug them in, run the wires, and then, geez, phone's ringing off the hook. Don't know if that's affecting the video or not, but if it is, I apologize for that. Okay, so let me grab the wiring, plug this back in, and I will be right back with you. Okay, so we know the blue wire in the front one, green wire in the back one, and then the wire goes back behind the intake manifold. So you can kind of see the blue one's longer, so it goes in the front, green one in the back, and then the wire kind of wraps around. So just so you know what, just so you're not like, well, which one does the blue one go on? The blue one goes in front. Okay, so click that in there, and then you pop your boot down, snug your boot down. I don't know how well you can see what I'm doing, but snug your boot down on there. The boot just kind of helps like coolant from getting down into it, or dirt or whatever. Because if you get a coolant leak from something down in here and it starts getting down in these, it'll make them go bad. Plug that in. Right up through there like so, and then we just kind of run this back behind. Just kind of fish this back behind here a little bit so that it's kind of out of the way. My daggum phone's ringing again. Like, seriously, people. Alright. People call me off the hook. And their numbers, I don't know who it is. Probably some telemarketer or something. But anyway. So that's that. I don't know how well you can see back in there, but it should look like that when you're done. Just plug those boots on. These boot covers, like I said, they just keep coolant from getting down in those holes. So you don't have to, you know, so because if you get some kind of a coolant leak and coolant flows down into there, they will plug up. Some people say you throw some silicone around here. Some will say you put a bead of silicone around here, but they fit pretty snug. They fit pretty airtight there. Oh, just dropped a tool. Why? Because I'm a tool. Just kidding. Well, I might not be kidding, but anyway. All right, so let me gather my stuff here, figure out where I need to go next. I think I need to put this intake back on. I need to change out the gaskets, and I'll be right back with that. Okay, so the gaskets, they just have this little clip right here. So you can see that little clip on each side, clip here, a little clip over here. So just a little clip that just kind of holds it on. But again, I don't see really, I mean, they don't look horrible. Hopefully I'm not changing something I actually didn't need to change, but right, I'm changing them anyway. I think it may have been on, pretty sure it was on this side somewhere, but again, I can't really pinpoint exactly where they might be coming from. Let's see here. So you can't really necessarily pinpoint an issue out right there. Maybe that. Maybe it was leaking from right there, maybe. Yep, that's split right there. Yep, that part right there. See how it's kind of coming out of there? That's probably where it was leaking from. So if you see something like that where you can kind of like pull on it and it'll like come out, see how it's coming out right there? That's probably where it was leaking. So I think we got the right deal here. It was leaking a little bit. It wasn't leaking too bad, but it was causing a check engine light, and it was kind of running a little bad. You can kind of tell it was not running very good. And it was a lean code from this side, so there again, it's, and then like I said, it just clips right on here. This on the right side. I don't think it should matter what side they go on, does it? It shouldn't be a right or a left. I think they're both the same. Just clip, clip, clip. Doesn't seem to be wanting to fit on there. Are they the right thing? Let's see. Looks right. Looks right. Everything looks right, so let's try it again. Might just be not clipping it on very good. That's the old one. Don't want to put the old one back on. And you might want to even wipe this down real good before you put them on. I think I didn't get it on. Swipe these down, because you know, just in case you don't want to run into another issue on it. Maybe use a little bit of brake cleaner or something to clean them, but I'm not going to go that far. I'm just going to wipe them down real good, scrub at them with a good shop towel. And then we're just going to figure out how to put these things in there. It just doesn't seem like they want to fit on there right, but it goes on like that. Like, what in the heck is holding it up? It's these little holes here holding it. There we go. There we go, there we go. Now this one. Put that hole in there and put that, there we go. Put that thing on just like that. Flip it over to the other side. Let me turn this way so you can kind of see better what I'm doing here. That might be better. Wipe this down real good. Just kind of, if it may not hurt to use like a little razor blade or something to scrape it off if you feel like it. Feel it maybe. You just at least wipe it down good with a rag. One of those stupid things. It's just weight and heat. Okay. Alright, we grab the next new one, and we just kind of, it's kind of having a hard time getting these little notches right here down into this little hole right here. There's a little hole right there that just kind of gives you a little bit of a fit trying to get those down in there. Try to get that hole down in there. Get that down in the little hole there. Get it clipped on. There we go. Perfect. Now this thing's ready to go back in. So we have to get your camera set back up there so you can see what's going on back up top. Sometimes these fall out. They're kind of tricky to get back in, but you can get them. They just go back in. It's just this little lip right here. It kind of makes it kind of difficult to get. If it'll zoom in on it, that little lip there just kind of has a hard time getting there, but it'll go. But anyway, let me get you set back up top and we will put this thing back in. Okay, so got you all set back up. Intake's up here. We're ready to slide this thing back in. It's gonna be a little bit kind of tricky-ish with those fuel rail in the way, kind of like it was getting it out, but just kind of have to fish it down in there a little bit around stuff. Kind of move this out of the way a little bit. Put down in there. You're just gonna have to. Sorry if you can't see very good. It's the best I can do with what I got with that camera, with my tripod and whatnot. Just slide this down in there, like so. Go around this one, so we don't knock that out of the way. And again, I do apologize if you can't see what I'm doing very good, but it's just put it in, get it around all the fuel rail and stuff. Okay, there we go. Right there, perfect. And then let me just drop this down in. Start hitting these bolts down. Actually, one quick thing I forgot to do is wipe this down. So I'm going to pull this back out, get that all wiped up, and then I'll put it back in. But you've already kind of seen me put it in, so we'll just kind of leave you there. And then I'll get back to this point and then go from there. Okay, so I wiped that down real good, at least right here along where your gasket's going to sit. You really want that to be clean. Everything else isn't too worried about, just where your gasket sits, like right along this edge. Just wipe that down good with a rag. Just kind of gotta wipe it good with a rag. Try not to get too much crud down in those holes, but if you get some, you get some. It's not going to kill it, but probably not a great idea. But anyway, wipe those down real good. Okay, now I'm ready to get this intake back in, so I'll get it back in to where I was, and then I will get back with you. Alright, so sorry about the lawnmower next door. Somebody decided they were going to start mowing the lawn, but that's all good. Hope you can hear me. Anyway, again, I'm not torquing these. I'm just going my impact on one, and I am going to kind of do a little bit of a sequence. I'm not sure. I didn't look up what the actual sequence is or the torque, but I'm just going to do kind of a here, kind of like a tire, sort of. But I'm just going to drop this down just a little bit. I'm not tightening them all the way up just yet until I get at least a couple of them done, and then I can always go back and retighten them. Just so that, you know, make sure it drops down in there right. And then over to here. That one. Over here to this one. And then over to this one. And then back to this one over here. Not the all the way back one. Is that the all the way back one? No, that's not the all the way back one. The all the way back one is over there. Okay, so we're gonna just hit them. You know, just until, you know, you feel like they might be good and snug. They don't have to be like super duper tight. Just until your gun starts impacting a little bit. Should be good. And then you can always go back over them a little bit, once or twice. Kind of try and sort of even them all out. But again, they don't have to necessarily be 100% perfect, like some people say they do. You definitely don't want to make them too tight because it is plastic. So, you know, there is that factor. But again, I set this back one back here. I'm going to be able to get my gun back too. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. Almost. This back one back here is kind of tricky. Okay, there we go. My socket's stuck back there. Where'd it go? Got my socket stuck. Okay, so that should be okay. I mean, they're not overly tight, but you don't want them too underly tight either. Like I said, just till you feel like they're kind of even. You know, they don't have to be super tight, but you want them good and tight enough that you can kind of hear your on one where it's kind of ratcheting a little bit, where you kind of heard that. Okay, now for the fuel rail, I recommend, like I mentioned before, put a little bit of Vaseline around these. Can you even see what I'm talking about? Hopefully you even saw that. I don't even know if you saw what I was doing, but anyway, put a little bit of Vaseline around these to help them go in without pinching them. But hopefully you understood what I was seeing. I was just kind of going like this one, and then across, and then up to that one, and then back to this one over here, and then back to this one, and then back to that one, kind of in a crisscross pattern. And then you just kind of hit them, you know, a little bit until you think they're tight. They don't have to be like overly tight. You don't have to until they stop, because it is plastic. You don't want to break it. And the gaskets are plastic. You don't want to break them. So they don't have to be over tight, but make sure they're tight. Anyway, onto these. Just get a little bit of just regular old Vaseline. Just put them around the O-rings on this. That way they slide in and you don't risk, you know, tearing them. You put a tear in there, you're gonna be in basically the same boat you're just in, only a little different, but it'll still run bad. But anyway, let's try that. Let's silicone those up, or not silicone them. You don't want to silicone them, that wouldn't be good. Vaseline them. Put you up here a little bit so you can see. Sorry if I'm kind of to where you can't see what I'm doing. I apologize. It's kind of tricky. Hopefully I'm at least explaining it good enough that you kind of get the gist of it. Yeah, because Vaseline is good because as soon as it gets hot, it just kind of vaporizes. But while it's still cold like this, it, you know, helps it kind of lube up and just helps it go in better. You know, some people say, you know, whatever, dielectric grease or whatever, and I've used that before, but Vaseline seems to work pretty well. Just add Vaseline on that. Really clip it down in there. And we Vaseline these ones up as best we can. As best you can. I mean, if you can't, you can't. You just got to be really careful with them going back in, because, like I said, you don't want to split one. You want to be able to have them slip in there really well, nicely, without any kind of a issue. Okay, so what we do is move these plugs out of the way so they don't cause us any problems. Get that stuff out of my way. Drop them down in your holes, and then just drop them in. That go in. That there, that's in the hole, that's in the hole, those are all in the hole. Bam. Perfect. And now, basically, same thing. We're just going to tighten them up, tighten everything back up on one. If you don't have a torque wrench, you can look up the torque specs. Honestly, I would kind of recommend that, but I'm just not, because I don't have the torque specs on hand with me at this exact moment, and I didn't look them up before I left work over the weekend. Kind of a spur of the moment thing that, you know, I'm going to do my intake manifolds, so I left. So some of my tools aren't at here; they're at work. So we're going to do the best we can with what we got. But just on one, it's not going to hurt anything. If you just put your impact on number one power and whatnot. And these don't necessarily have to be in any kind of specific order. I can't quite get to. These ones don't have to go in any sequence or anything. Just tighten it down. That one I got to get with my hand tool. Hand wrench. Let's see what I did with my hand wrench. It's got to be up here somewhere. All right. Got to go get my wrench. Be right back. All right, I just went ahead and plugged that in, or tightened that up so I didn't waste your time. And then we'll plug in this hose back here. Again, it should just be slide in, and it should lock in place. Yep, there we go, locked in place, just like that. And then we go through and we plug in all of our injector wires, kind of in order. I mean, they don't have to be in order, just make sure they get plugged in the right one. They should, because they can't really go anywhere else other than the one that they're in. I got my flashlight. Where'd my flashlight go? There's my lid to my thing. Where'd my flashlight go? Hang on, just a second. Let me find my flashlight. around here somewhere. What'd I do with it? Be right back. Okay, sorry about that. I need to be more organized. I just need to see how this thing plugs in. Right there. Oh. Sorry, I keep making it so you can't see what the heck I'm doing. Looking down in there and don't realize I'm trying to hold the camera in there. But anyway, just plug these in. They go in order. They can't. You really how they are. It's kind of hard. You can't really get them backwards. You know, they're kind of drop right where they need to go. So it's kind of hard to. You can't really get them on the wrong plug. I mean, if you happen to do it, then you did something better than I can. But if you get them backwards or into the wrong injector, then you'll have some problems. But you shouldn't run into that problem. Why ain't this one plugging in? There we go. And this last one over here, plug that guy in. You can kind of hear him click. If you can't hear it on the camera, you'll hear it when you're plugging them in on your own. You'll hear it clicking. Drop that one in. Drop this one in. Just drop it till it clicks. If you have to like kind of give it a little tug just to make sure, then you're good. I do apologize. I know this is kind of a hard video to watch because I keep getting in your way and you keep looking at all this nothing that I'm doing. But hopefully I'm explaining it enough to where you can get a good gist of what I'm doing. Okay, there's that, and then we plug in, don't forget to plug in your map sensor back here. So if I can get that camera shining back there to see that, you just plug that back in. You can get back there to it with all this wiring in the way. I think that was supposed to go underneath that. I think this wiring is supposed to go over the top of that. Yep, it's supposed to go like that. And then you can plug that in. Yep, it kind of goes down in that little groove there. This wire kind of goes down in that groove, and this one goes kind of in that little groove. And then you can plug in your map sensor. And then you can plug in your, you can get a hold of it down here. You run this up. Run your knock sensor wire up here. Plug it in. It's kind of difficult doing this one-handed, but you know what? We're gonna get it done. Let's see if I can drop you down in there and have you stay. Hey, look at that! I can work two-handed now. Go figure. Okay, and then let's plug that in. And if that don't work, again, like I said, I'm gonna keep this one. I'll just run it over across here so that it's still there, but not like in the way. Okay, so then we got those plugged in, that plugged in. Now we can drop this back down onto there like that. Then we bring where's our hose at? This one? I don't know where the heck that goes. It goes down there somewhere. It plugs into here. I don't know where it goes on that end. Back there. It goes onto something, I think, but I don't know where that goes. But it does plug into here. Oh, it goes over there. This goes back here on this back here. There's a little port for it to plug onto back here. And then it comes onto here. Onto, if you can see where I'm at. You can see where I'm at right there, onto this one. Try and set this down again. But anyway, that one goes onto that. Hose there. And then where does this one? This one goes right there. No, that one can't go right there, does it? Does that one go into that big, huge thing? It kind of looks like it, doesn't it? this one goes to here, and this one here. Sorry, I keep moving you around. So you're kind of hard to see when I'm holding the camera and working, but I do again apologize for that. I understand if you're all ticked off because I'm not doing a very good job here, but I'm trying. Bear with me. What goes there? What one goes here? That one goes there. Alternator. This guy here. Up here's our screw for that guy right there. This is the one that looks like that. Has a little collar on it there. And again, just put it on one. Drop it down in there. What went on that one? Where did it go? Is that? No, maybe it's that. Yep, it's that. Okay. Yep, it's that. Just that wire. I thought maybe that went to the intake, the air intake, but nope, that one goes right there. So now all we are left is the throttle body. And this one I'm assuming must go right here. That one must go onto that. Yep, looks like so. This one here looks like it goes right there. And we should be ready. It's got to fix that hose clamp. Well, it's just vacuum, so I don't know if that's going to be totally necessary to have clamp back there. This clamp, I did remove that clamp, but might want to put that back on. But anyway, now the throttle body. I'll have to set you down for that one because it's going to need both hands. Okay, sorry about that. Okay. Stay. Good boy. Okay, now just roll this back over. Drop it down in there like so. Put this hose back on. Okay, now where am I? 10 mils. Go right here. Yeah, again, like I said, it seems harder, it feels harder, and it might, you might just be intimidated by it, but it's really not too bad. Like, I mean, seriously, it's actually really a simple job. It's not near as bad as one might think. It just looks more intimidating than you think, but really it's not too bad. With my 10 mil. And this again, I'm just doing by hand ratchet. Just like taking them off, I'm just going to go hand ratchet on this one just because this doesn't have to be over tight. Just doesn't snug. Just tell you can't like turn it easily. You don't need to put a whole lot of torque onto these. Just enough to where with a little bit of, just like a little bit of force, you can't turn it anymore, and that should be plenty. I know there's a torque spec for them again, but again, I'm not torquing them today. I recommend you do. Don't, it's one of those do as I say, not as I do type things, but if you do it this way, you will be just fine. But again, I recommend torquing them, and I would have torqued them, but I just kind of a spur of the moment thing, trying to get this thing done. We got some storms coming in I'd like to get it ready for before it actually starts storming on us. And then grab you a set of 45s, 45-degree long needle nose. Those work pretty good to get down into this hose clamp down here. Move you over here so you can kind of see this that little hose clamp down there. You can kind of see it. These little bent 45s seem to work pretty well for this because you can kind of get them down in there. And you can move your hose clamp down there. Up too far, too far. Perfect, right there. You can see that down there, but that's perfect. And then, grab that other one. And then if I can get this up into that other one. If you can't get it here, you can grab a pair of straight needle nose, long needle nose maybe, to get that one on. And it may not even be that necessary, but also I need to go get my straight ones. So give me 1 sec. Okay, got that one back there. Kind of a pain in the butt, but we got it. And then we just throw this thing back on. I don't know if I want to put that underneath that in case I need to use it. Let's pull this out of there, just in case I need to use it, and then we'll drop this on top of there like so. Throw our 3 10mm down in there. And if you don't want to use your cover, you don't have to, and then you can just leave this off. It just, all it does is hooks the cover piece onto it, which I don't know. That's whatever you want to do. If you feel like it, more power to you, less power to you, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to consider it. Okay, just tighten those down. Tighten those down. I have to go grab my 10mm ratchet wrench again. Let's see. I keep forgetting my tools over there, and that's not a good thing to do when I'm trying to do a video. Sorry, a little unprepared today, but hopefully you get the gist of it. Because we're trying to get this thing figured out kind of on short notice. Anyway, let me go grab my 10mm, tighten those things up, and then cover back on, and then airbox, and this thing is ready to fire up. Wait, not quite. Gotta plug in our throttle body. That wouldn't be good. It's not gonna do much with that without that plugged in. Okay, now we're pretty much back together. The rest of it I think you can figure out. It's just your cover, 1 bolt, you know, the 1 bolt on top that goes into there. Your air filter box. I think you can figure that out. Appreciate y'all watching. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully this isn't, you know, if you're gonna go do this job, hopefully you're not too scared, too intimidated. It's really not too bad. Anyway, appreciate you watching. Thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, do the things, you know the YouTube stuff. Anyway, appreciate you, love you, couldn't do this without you. I'll see you in the next one.